Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. We're here once again with the Skaven, going to be taking on the Warriors of Chaos, so let's go ahead and jump straight to the army compositions. I've got Lord Skrulk here, but definitely the most competitive Lord choice for the Skaven in my opinion. He's got access to Lore of Plague, so we brought Wither and Vermintide, of course, to get the extra summons of Clan Rats, and the Wither to help pull armor off of Chaos Warriors and so on. The Aura of Pestilence is that -5 melee attack that Skrulk carries. Likewise, we've also got both items here. The Rod of Corruption is an area of effect damage spell that does a ton of damage to high model count units. So you throw Skrulk into a blob, pop this Rod of Corruption, and he'll do a ton of damage. Likewise, Liber Bubonicus is the kind of single target item. It does a ton of direct single target damage and is great at nuking down Chaos Lords. Pretty much anyone except Sigvald is going to be vulnerable. Even Big Bird with his magic resistance will still take a lot of damage from the Liber Bubonicus, so definitely a great choice in this matchup. To back him up, we've got an Assassin here, as well as a Hell Pit Abomination. The Hell Pit Abomination, well, I know one of you asked me if you thought this guy was viable. I do think that in a lot of matchups he is, especially against matchups that aren't going to bring a lot of missiles, like Chaos. You know, Chaos really only has the Marauder Horsemen as their only skirmishers, so the Hell Pit Abomination's relatively safe here. He's got massive anti-large armor piercing, not the best combat stats, but he does have regeneration, terror. This is too horrible to die as well, which means that when he gets low, he might get a huge burst of healing, or he might just die horribly and spawn a unit of Skaven slaves, which is very interesting. A nice little mechanic there. Likewise, we've got a Plague Furnace here, just a naked Plague Furnace with no spells, just the bound Pestilent Breath, and of course the area of effect Drain ability. For an infantry composition, we've got a mix of Clan Rats and Clan Rat Spears with 2 Storm Vermin. We've got 3 units of Rat Ogres backing it all up, and a single Meat Shield up front. For the Chaos Forces, who are actually going to be led by Sarmatian, who is a tournament player, very good player overall. We've got a front line of Chaos Marauders, backed up by Sword and Board Chaos Warriors, who are going to be honestly pretty good in this matchup. They'll cut through most Skaven infantry just fine, and even with their good combat stats, they'll hang around very well with even like Storm Vermin and so on. Chaos Warriors, if we look at their AP spread here, they actually have 10 armor piercing damage with 26 base weapon strength, so pretty decent AP values. Likewise, they're being backed up by these aspiring champions here, who once again, very good pick against the Skaven. Skaven tend to bring, you know, Death Runners, Plague Monks, any units like that that have the physical resistance. These aspiring champions are going to be good against. They have this Encourage, which buffs the leadership of nearby units, and they also have splash attacks, so they can kind of disrupt enemy infantry. We've also got 3 units of Chaos Warriors with Halberds just to take down large targets. We've got 4 Marauder Horsemen, just the regular Javelins, as most of the large targets you're going to be shooting at with these guys are non-armored, like Rat Ogres and this Hell Pit and so on. And then for the Lord choice, he's got a Chaos Sorcerer Lord up on a Manticore for a nice cheap flying option. And let's go ahead and take a look at the spell loadout. He's got Fireball, Flaming Sword of Ruin, Burning Head, and Piercing Bolts of Burning. So let's go ahead and kick the battle into full gear, and we'll watch as the battle unfolds. So yeah, just going to be going straight up the pipe here. I do have very much of a Skaven rush build, so we're just going to be marching straight up, getting all across the board charges here in with the Rat Ogres, doing their nice belly flop animations, and coming in with the Hulk smash. Definitely some rodents of unusual size here. Right through the center, we're going to be bringing up the Hell Pit Abomination and the Plague Furnace kind of unified together just to get a bit of a monster mash going. You can see Skrulk's also getting in here, and we're going to pop that Rod of Corruption. You can just watch the direct damage here that goes down. Likewise, I was going to summon up some more Clan Rats, but unfortunately got interrupted there. But you can see all across the main line we're doing very well. My opponent, unfortunately, not microing his Marauder Horsemen here, which is a big mistake. If they were in here shooting at these Rat Ogres, could definitely be making a difference. And I mean, obviously the Clan Rats are going to lose out pretty badly here to the Chaos Warriors, but they're meant to just kind of hold up for a minute, bog them down, and allow us to kind of monster mash. You can see a very nice Burning Head from my opponent coming down, kind of roasting through this flank. Got a really good roast on those Clan Rat Spears and Clan Rats, so this flank for me is probably going to break. But in the center, we have gotten some of these Chaos Warriors and Marauders to start terror routing. Aspiring Champions are still holding things up here, but we got that nice Overcast Wither taking down the armor of all the units in this pocket by 60. So you can see these Chaos Warriors down to only 40 armor. They're going to be taking a lot of extra damage from all the clan rats that are soaked into this pocket, and you've got the drain as well from the plague furnace. So very, very brutal stuff. The Hell Pit is definitely taking some damage, and you can see over on this flank, this unit of Chaos Warriors is holding out very well. The Halberds are making this very uncomfortable for the Rat Ogres, so I'm going to try and pull them back in a way, but some of them are definitely getting taken down. And the Monster Mash in the center is really going to be where I'm trying to make my money here. Meanwhile, the Skaven Slave Slinger is being thrown in here to just kind of bog down these Chaos Warriors and so on. You can see a lot of my units are starting to rat away on this flank. I really don't want to leave these Rat Ogres in sustained combat for the Halberds too long, so I'm gonna pull them back and try and cycle charge in a little bit, almost like you would with a Cav unit. Just to kind of cycle them in and out so they're not standing on top of those halberds for too long. Rat Ogres, you know, they do a decent amount of shock damage. 46 charge bonus is not too bad. They don't have the best sustained combat stats, so I definitely think that using that charge bonus and that mobility as much as possible is going to be in your benefit. You can see we brought in the Storm Vermin to hold this pocket down. But yeah, here in the center, we've been able to break a lot of these units with the Drain and the Terror from the Hell Pit Abomination. It's been really rough. We got one cast of Liber Bubonicus on this Sorcerer Lord, and that's done all that damage to him, so one more cast should be able to finish him off. I actually don't know if that did all of the damage to him, but it did a lot of damage to him. Hell Pit Abomination, again, just kind of tying up this entire flank here. It's a little bit dangerous to have them unsupported here. There are a few clan rats on station. They probably won't hold up long, though, to all these Chaos Warriors here, but the Hell Pit Abomination does do some nasty armor-piercing damage, so we'll watch this thing. It is a gorgeous unit model. Well, gorgeous in a sense. It's actually kind of horrifying and terrible, but you see all these little rat heads on the back and a little wheel that it has for a leg on the side, and oh man, it's just a horrifying creature for certain. But yeah, gonna be monster mashing that pocket. Meanwhile, the Plague Furnace and the Rat Ogres trying to finish off these Chaos Warriors here, who are holding out very admirably. We're just trying to screen out as much as possible with the Marauder Horsemen as well, so they don't have too much time to shoot at these Rat Ogres. They will obviously, with their non-armor piercing missiles and only the 30 armor on the Rat Ogres, will do quite a bit of damage there. Storm Vermin just kind of holding up this pocket at this point while we try and break more of these units. Honestly, at this point, I'm really just waiting for the Liber Bubonicus to come off of cooldown so we can try and get one more cast on this Sorcerer Lord here, but we did manage to shatter some halberds. You can see hopping that Fireball now, going straight for Skrulk, so a little bit of tit for tat here. We'll see if that makes solid contact, and ooh, might have done some damage to old Skrulk boy. He's down to about maybe 40% HP there, so a nice little snipe from that Fireball, but we did get that last Liber Bubonicus cast. So that wizard is definitely going to get taken off the battlefield. Even if it doesn't kill him, it should finish off his leadership. So with that, the balance power is going to turn more heavily in my favor. And yeah, we're going to be able to start pushing through a little bit. Skrulk's still got a few more summons in his pocket as well, so we're going to bring up more clan rats just to keep the balance power very tilted, and use these guys to kind of soak some of the missiles from these Marauder Horsemen, and eventually just kind of wear things out from attrition from here. A lot of these infantry you can see are starting to shatter. The Monster Mash is definitely real. We'll kind of go for a ride along with all these Storm Vermin and this Hell Pit Abomination and so on. Very, very cool stuff. Honestly, Skaven are one of my favorite factions in Game 2. I would definitely say they're just they're kind of like the Greenskins in that they're comical but also terrifying. I mean, just all the steampunk machinery and these crazy monstrosities of all these different rat parts sewn together. Really, really cool. And yeah, you can see those Marauders pitching in their javelins to the side. They will be able to do some pretty solid damage to this Hell Pit Abomination. It's getting pretty low. It is regenerating, but has taken quite a bit of damage. But yeah, you can see these Storm Vermin chasing through, be routing off these Chaos Warriors with halberds. And Storm Vermin, you know, although they don't have the best combat stats, they do come with 120 unit models and have pretty solid weapon strength, and 30 melee defense is not terrible, and 90 armor. I mean, their combat stats do leave a little bit to be desired, but typically with the Skaven, you're going to be trying to stack some debuffs and drag your opponent down to your level anyway. So the fact that they have 120 unit models too means that they can definitely put out a lot of hits, you know. So yeah, you can see over here, Hell Pit Abomination continuing to take damage, but we're just trying to force a lot of these units off the side here. The Chaos Lord is routed off the field, and yeah, a lot of these Chaos units starting to shatter at this point. So very well played to my opponent. It's a fun matchup, you know, very dynamic matchup, because I think it can definitely go back and forth. I'll talk about my thoughts here, but you can see the Hell Pit Abomination does go down there and releases a unit of Skaven slaves. Don't ask me where these guys were hiding, but apparently they were, you know, inside this thing driving it or something. Who knows? But anyway, well played to my opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Fun battle for showcasing this matchup. Skrulk did his job of taking out the opposing caster. Also got a couple really nice casts of the Rod of Corruption as well. 102 kills, of course, on the Plague Priest. Having that drain in the center line is absolutely key, and against a very heavy infantry composition from Warriors of Chaos, expecting you know, a lot of damage out of it, and it definitely performed. Thankfully, Clan Rats, you know, they are meant to just soak hits, but some of them actually did pretty decent, and the Storm Vermin also acquitted themselves relatively well. Likewise for the Rat Ogres, did well. Not too many kills on the Hell Pit Abomination, but the Terror was really what was key there. So for my opponent, I definitely like the Sword and Board Chaos Warriors here. The Halberds, you know, they're a decent pick, but I think you want to go with more of a mobile anti-large force against the Skaven. Like, let's go ahead and talk about things in a little bit more detail here. I know Sarmation's a high-level player, and I'm not sure 100% if he was just trying something new, but, you know, I'll offer you guys my thoughts. One thing you'll note is a lot of different high-level players have different philosophies about how things should be approached, and, you know, oftentimes that leads to very interesting battles. Like, you know, what I think is quote-unquote meta, Turin may not agree with, and, you know, so on. So, personally, though, I think that rather than taking the 3 halberds, you could go ahead and maybe cut them and go for, like, some Dragon Ogres or something. The Lord of Fire is definitely a nice option, although if I had brought Howling Warp Gale, that would have been even worse for the Sorcerer Lord up in the air. It is definitely risky going in the air. Big Bird or Sigvald, I think, is probably going to be the best choice here. Bringing a Chaos Lord or a Sorcerer Lord is nice and cheap, and it allows you to combine your Caster and Lord in one. Big Bird does have the magic and missile resistance, so against things like Warp Lightning Cannons, he's going to be relatively immune, and he will take less damage from the Liber Bubonicus. He also has 6,000 HP, which is pretty solid if we compare Sorcerer Lord here. Up on a Manticore has significantly less, only about 3,000 HP here, so there's just more to chew through with Big Bird. His ability to kind of skate around and you know, disrupt the Skaven formation is very powerful. Likewise, he also causes Fear and Terror, which can be an issue for the Skaven, certainly, and he can take some decent area of effect damage spells against low armor. I mean, obviously, you could go for the full Final Transmutation, since Skaven characters don't have a way to heal. Could potentially be very powerful, or you could go with more of an area of effect disruption with Searing Doom and Gehenna's Golden Hounds to just try and put out extra damage from Big Bird, but yeah. Something like this, or Sigvald, you know, obviously Sigvald doesn't have magic resistance or anything fancy like that, but he's on foot, so he's hard to goon. He's got good combat stats, and he also has this auric armor here, which gives him regeneration, so he can heal through that damage. You know, potentially a pretty good pick here. But yeah, I think that if you were to combine the halberds and go with more of a mobile, and I know it's a threat from some of the anti-large stuff that the Skaven can bring, but I really think the anti-large armor piercing that you have to bring to counter things like the Plague Furnace and, you know, Doom Wheels, stuff like that, I honestly think it's better off to go with a more mobile, kind of concentrated force. Dragon Ogres are a really nice pick, of course the Shaggoth as well. So something like this, and then I definitely agree with the Sword and Board Chaos Warriors, so we'll go ahead and tank up on them, grab a couple of Marauders and an Aspiring Champion, maybe a couple of Forsaken. They're pretty decent in this matchup as well. And I don't have any Marauder Horsemen, so we'll grab a couple of them. And I mean, obviously my opponent mismicroing them a little bit was pretty rough for him, but even if he had brought them into the fight, I just don't know that they would have been able to get on the Plague Furnace, which is really the main damage output there. So something like this, a little bit of a modified army composition. I don't actually have a caster here, so maybe if we cut the Dragon Ogres and just go with the Shaggoth, we can bring... Fire's a decent choice, honestly, because it has some really nice spells. If we were to take basically the same spell loadout, Fireballs for sniping out, you know, Hell Pits and so on, we'll take the Burning Head and Flaming Sword and Cascading Fire Cloak, perhaps. Piercing Bolts can be pretty good there as well, but this is still a little expensive. I might want to cut one of these spells. Something like this I think would be pretty solid overall. And it still leaves you with a bit more points. I honestly would probably grab another Marauder Horseman. And yeah, something like this against the Skaven I think would be pretty solid. But it's an just interesting matchup. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you like this kind of content, be sure to like, subscribe, and click that bell notification button so you're notified when I upload new videos. And yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.